Chapter 2 starts with Yuri's birthday. He asks his parents Luke and Suzuya with white paper book as a gift for his birthday. White paper book is basically a diary, and it is considered to be a rare item in this world.
What are you going to use it for?
Yuri's father Luke asks. Yuri then explained to his father why he wanted the white paper book as a gift.
It's a diary. I want to write down the things I thought about. So the thicker it is, the better it would be for me.
Luke asks Suzuya.
How's his reading and writing skills?
Suzuya answers proudly.
It's perfect. I have nothing to teach him.
Yuri deep in his thoughts, thinking that there was little to learn from his mother since they're from a family focused on farming, meaning they didn't have time to attend school. Yuri thought that while he might have a hard time reading difficult books, the reason why he wanted to get the white paper book was to write down his previous life's memory before it vanishes away, since those memories and skills might prove useful in the future. Yuri then begged at his father for the book.
Please, Father. I won't ask for a birthday present in the future, so...
Yuri's pleading was cut off by his mother proposing to buy the white paper book.
Oh, let's buy him the white paper book. Besides, it's the first time Yuri is asking for something. And he helps you with your work, right?
Luke spoke, cutting off Suzuya mid-sentence.
But it costs 4,000 to 5,000 ruga.
Suzuya was shocked at the price of the book. Yuri, deep in his thoughts, he tries to understand the situation. As he saw his mother's expression stiffen upon hearing the price, he surmised that the book is expensive. Understanding that in this world, books are made from animal skins, so it wouldn't be surprising if it's expensive. Thinking that his father came from a royal family, but his father left the royal family and he is trying to earn money from farming to be able to provide for his family. The money they earn may not be much, but still. Yuri couldn't back down asking for the book as a gift. He stared at his father, filled with resolution, hoping that he would give in and buy him the book. His father sighed, defeated, then he said,
All right, but first you have to prioritize helping your mother, and the farm works too. Can you promise?
Yuri delightedly exclaimed.
Yes, thank you, Father.
Moments later we see Luke and Yuri riding a king eagle. They soared above the forest as they traveled to the capital city. We enter a flashback scene where Yuri asks,
Shibuyaku?
Luke answered.
Yep, we are going to the center of the Shiaruta Empire, where we currently live, the Shibuyaku capital. Luckily, the King Eagle delivery was on hold. You can choose the white book you want there. Besides, this is a great chance to show you the capital.
Flashback ends and we can see them approaching the capital. Luke pointed at the capital as a sign for Yuri to let him know that they're close. The scenery is different back from their home, the capital having tons of building and noticeable populace leaving and entering the city. They arrived at their destination, which seemed to be a large building. Luke alerted Yuri.
We're landing. Sit tight.
Luke circled around the sky with the King Eagle to signal their landing. Luke landed the King Eagle beautifully, and as he helped Yuri down the King Eagle, a man approached them saying,
As always, that landing is amazing, Luke.
Luke turned around and noticed the man and said,
Oh, Gala.
Apparently, that man's name was Gala. As they continued their conversation, Luke said that.
I came here to deliver. Have you heard about it?
Was it the eagle for the princess or something like that?
Gala answered.
Geez, yes. I got asked for a size that a child could comfortably ride on.
Luke replied.
You got asked for something like that?
Gala replied while laughing at his predicament. Gala then said,
Well, they might have wanted to ride on the king eagle more than the eagles that were raised in the guard's cage, since it has a reputation of being the best in the world.
Then Gala cut himself off from rambling and asked who is the child Luke brought with him.
Anyway, this child...
Before Gala continued, Luke introduced his son.
This is my son Yuri. He is turning 4 this year.
Yuri greeted respectfully.
Hello, I'm honored to meet my father's friend.
Gala patted Yuri on his head.
He is a very mature child. I haven't seen a child this well-mannered since the princess.
Then Gala Sayed criticizing his son.
My son is going to become 4 this year too, yet they are total opposite.
Luke brushing the topic off by saying,
No, don't say that.
A woman approached while both of them were talking, cutting between Luke and Gala's conversation and immediately talking to Gala, while Luke and Yuri listened in their conversation.
Sir Gala.
What's wrong?
Her Highness Carol is here.
The princess. She came to see me first thing in the morning.
Luke, trying not to get dragged in, tried to leave by saying,
Then I'll take my leave.
Gala immediately says,
You didn't get your receipt right? Is it okay to leave like this?
Gala's words stopped Luke in his tracks. Then Gala continued saying,
You have an expression that's saying, it's better not to get involved since it seems annoying if you do. But meet her right now. Who knows, you might become her regular visitor in the future.
The princess entered along with her servants. Gala bowed and Luke kneeled to show respect. Yuri noticed their actions, which made him kneel too. The princess stood in front of them haughtily, then introduced herself.
Good, raise your heads. My name is Carol Full Chartres. Are you Lukao?
Luke replied.
Yes, I'm honored to meet you, Your Highness.
Then the princess replied while praising him.
I heard that you were an exceptional knight who participated in the knight's performance.
Luke humbly replied.
You flatter me. However, I was defeated by Gala.
The princess then looked at the king eagle while saying,
I heard you raise excellent eagles. Is it this one? What's its name?
I have yet to name it. It would be an honor if Your Highness could name it.
Luke replied. Then the princess replied back.
I see.
Then she asked another question, fidgeting excitedly while curiously inspecting the king eagle.
So we can fly with this?
Luke replied.
Oh, we have just traveled a long distance. I think it is best to rest its wings for today.
The princess was downhearted that she couldn't ride the king eagle. Gala then intervened by saying,
Your Highness, maybe we can use this opportunity and tell you about the ways of riding it.
Luke protested on his thoughts, while the princess perked up and excitedly asked.
How should I ride it?
Luke spoke, teaching the steps on how to ride the king eagle.
Yes, first, let's become close with the eagle. Like dealing with a close friend. If done that way, I'm sure the eagle will respond the same.
The princess happily replied.
So, not act gloomy or hostile, okay?
Then she reached her hand for the reins of the king eagle. Luke then looked around for approval. Then the princess servant said,
Don't worry.
Luke then gave the reins of the king eagle to the princess, making her say.
Thanks, I'll cherish it.
Few hours passed. Luke and Yuri walked around the market. Then, while walking, Yuri asked about earlier.
The person you mentioned earlier, Gala.
Luke replied.
He's a classmate of mine when I was in the Knights Institute, a school in the capital city. One day you'll enroll as well.
Yuri replied.
I'll quit midway, though.
Luke cut him off by saying,
But I'm sure you'll be fine, Yuri.
Luke then noticed they already arrived at their destination, a bookstore in the capital. As they entered the store, they saw the place. It was filled with stuff used in drawing and writing. The place was decorated with easels, canvas, and ink. Luke told Yuri to pick one of the books laid out in the table. The book have varying designs, sizes, and thickness. Yuri asked if he could inspect the contents as well, and the shopkeeper said that he could. Yuri examined the books, while his father looked at him smiling in seeing his son's curiosity. The shopkeeper then asked Luke if the book was for his son, and Luke answered yes, while further expanding on the topic by saying that Yuri seems to be interested in anything related to notebooks, memorandums, and such. The shopkeeper was delighted. Then she said that even if we think something is a precious memory for us, there is a chance, a possibility that we might forget those memories. Then the shopkeeper said that, at this age, she hoped to remember the words of his father, the recipe of her mother's soup. The shopkeeper regretted forgetting those memories. Then the shopkeeper said that by buying this book, it will benefit not only his son, but him as well. Because after all, when they die, people will forget about them, which is true, as sad as it might sound to be. Yuri interrupted by shouting that he had decided on what book to get. He chose a simple book with no design, but has more pages than the others. Luke asked if he is sure, then protested that sometimes high-priced stuff comes handy later on. Yuri explained that the other have thicker parchment and has lesser pages than the one he chose. As Luke prepares to pay for the book, the shopkeeper was impressed by Yuri and decided to give them a discount. The shopkeeper was smirking like she was planning something devious, which put both Luke and Yuri into thinking that for some reason the shopkeeper seemed kind of evil. Few hours later, we see Luke and Yuri at the kingdom stable. Yuri asked,
Are we allowed to borrow a bird?
Luke replied,
This is the kingdom's stable. You can't borrow or rent one unless it's a national affair. Usually, people look a carriage or a caravan while also renting a horse for a high price. It's a bit far to travel by foot, so let's change our ride and stay one night in one of the towns nearby. Hold on to your important belongings firmly, okay?
Yuri replied.
Okay.
They spent the night in an inn on a nearby village where they rested and ate food. Luke complimented Yuri.
You did good today. You're tired from the long journey, right? Unlike the eagle back at the kingdom, we have to make a detour on the way back.
Yuri answered.
Yes, when we were flying in the sky, it felt like we were flying near the south of the town of Jeneum.
Luke replied.
Excellent observation.
Yuri replied back.
I saw a cliff near the south of the town. It's pretty inconvenient that you can't fly with two adults.
Luke answered while asking for another glass.
It's not like you can't ride with two adults. It's dangerous. Even if you do manage to float just a bit, it will most likely crash.
Yuri then asked.
I hear you can fly with two women, though.
That only comes from fairy tales. There are some students who mimic it because of their admiration for the stories, but you can't do that, okay?
Luke answered while forbidding Yuri on doing dangerous acts. Then Yuri asked again.
Speaking of girls, the blonde girl that we met today.
Luke interrupted while drinking.
Ah, she's the daughter of Queen Shimone. Her Majesty has a younger sister, but she'll probably the next queen.
I see, she is...
Yuri answered, but he was immediately cut off by his father, who is visibly drunk, teasing Yuri about the princess.
Did you fall in love? The royal family is nothing but trouble, you know.
Yuri then answered while successfully changing the subject.
I'm fine with someone ordinary like Mother. More than that, can you tell me how you got along with Mother?
Luke answered. He rambles on about how he met and courted Suzuya, reminiscing the past, while the night continues on. Later that night, we see Yuri writing on his new book, writing about his past memories and knowledge that he possessed, hoping that by writing it down, these past memories and knowledge will help him in gaining power in the future. 3 years later, we see Yuri riding a kakadori bird in the meadows, celebrating his 7th birthday. He went back to his house, seeing a bird bearing an important insignia. He heard his father shouting,
Please go away. I left a long time ago. This letter. Even if a war breaks out, I have the right to not participate.
The messenger argued.
But the head of the place, Mr. Gauck, he said that you must participate. Please.
A war is about to break out, and we see his father looking at the letter. And this marks the end of Chapter 2. Like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you can be notified for future updates. For other videos like this, click here. Thanks for watching. See you next time.